Hello, I'm Lillian with Seniors with a Purpose. You're watching Delmarva Lights.
And Lillian is sweetheart.
She's a
I get a
sweetheart.
hug from her every time I see her. Thanks for coming, guys. So, who do you think you are? Well, you know who you are, but do you know who your ancestors were?
Well, with the internet, it's getting easier to find out, and that's probably why it seems more people are tracing their family roots. But when it comes to sprouting a family tree, if you're not careful, you could end up on the wrong branch. These boxes contain thousands of pages of correspondence Michael Hitch of Salisbury used to trace his family lineage.
The Hitch family was the main one I focused on then, and the good thing about the Hitch name is it's fairly a rare surname, so I'm not dealing with Jones or Smith, and I have to sift through all those Smith and Jones to figure out who was who.
Hitch's curiosity blossomed into a full-blown obsession.
I gathered all this information from the Hitch family, and I didn't just go about it from just my line. I said, okay, I know my line now extends back to this fellow named Adam Hitch, who lived here in Salisbury area in 1680.
Hitch eventually received so much information he was able to write an 800-page book. Dr. Ray Thompson, director of the NAB Research Center at Salisbury University, says while not everyone needs to go that far to learn about their family heritage, the first place to start is with you.
What I would suggest if they are going to be tracing their family history is that they look to themselves, to look to see what they know, to see if anybody in the family has already done any research, has maybe done a publication or at least done a handwritten excerpt of the family. Look at county records, look at birth certificates, at marriage certificates, death certificates to see what kind of information you can find. Then you would want to go to the local records.
Dr. Thompson says newspapers provide a lot of information as well. You can also look at censuses, but be careful.
There are many things about censuses that are a problem. It could be, since the census taker is the one who actually writes the material, it's what that person heard. So that can be a name that's completely misconstrued. Even maybe the persons didn't know what their birth dates were.
These days, most of this information can be found online. Genealogy sites can put it at your fingertips, but again, you have to be careful.
A lot of people will find information but won't look to where that information actually originated from or where did that answer come from.
A lot of local records can be found at the NAB Center. Leanne Roy is a reading room assistant and is available to help seekers navigate the shelves here.
They're usually looking for something to document their family being in the area, like wills and probate records, and finding out more about the family and the person and the history of themselves.
And it can be done with records that you may not know even exist.
Lisa, what we have here are a number of types of records that I thought you might like to take a look at. They're the kind of records that people might want to use in doing their family history, and they're all original records from the area of the local Eastern Shore here. This is a Bible from the 18th century, and it has in it the records of an Eastern Shore family from Somerset County.
This Bible even has a record of slaves.
That belonged to a plantation owner in Worcester County named Thomas Pollitt. And in the 1700s, he thought it important to list the ages of his Negroes. These are his slaves. And so the parents are listed here, their children are listed here. And this is one sort of record that will help us in being able to bridge that gap between slavery and freedom.
This church record book from the 17th century lists baptisms, marriages, deaths, even probations. And believe it or not, geography holds a lot of clues to a family's past.
To understand history, you have to understand geography. The two go hand in hand.
Aaron Horner is a research assistant at the NAB Center. He says the landscape of Delmarva has changed dramatically over the past 250 years.
I like to use Shorebird Stadium as a good example. If you were doing, you know where the stadium is. In 1740, that was Somerset County. In 1810, that was Worcester County. By 1867, it would become Wicomico County.
Another type of record that people may not know about is a fire map.
Street by street, the buildings are identified. In other words, if there are not only a house, but a chicken coop and a garage and a stable on the property, those will all be identified.
Everyone has a family history, and whether it has strong roots or broken branches, there are different reasons for wanting to trace family lines.
I think it has to do with everybody wants to know who they are, what makes them up, you know, where they get their blue eyes from, and their hair color, and their strengths, and maybe some weaknesses.
To me, it's like a puzzle piece. You know, that's how I look at it. You know, there are a lot of records out there to look at.
And while some of those pieces are easy to find, others can take years, even decades, to locate.
It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It takes, some people have been working on it for years. And it depends on where your family is and how much moving they did.
It's a laborious process. It's a long process, but it can be done.
And the staff at the NAB Research Center at Salisbury University is more than happy to help you find the sources you need to trace your family tree. The NAB Center also takes donations of items you may find around your house or at a yard sale, anywhere. You might find a Bible, a book, or some kind of record. You never know. It could be important information that could be used to trace someone's family information or tree.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. In fact, I got into it a little bit.
Did you really?
I
Yeah.
did mine. It's addictive.
About the only thing I know is I've got a relative from out in the Old West named One-Armed John. I didn't want to know anymore.
And if you would like to learn more about the NAB Research Center, including information on an upcoming genealogy workshop, log on to delmarvalife.com and click on the show tab. Well, still to come on Delmarva Life, there are many advantages to working from home.
I could work in my boxers.
There's that, but sometimes the business expands and outgrows your home. We have some signs that indicate you need to look into commercial property. Delmarva Life, we'll be right back. Really?